Hi, I'm Robert Mitchell. Welcome to Cork Meets Fork, match number 7, where we're doing port meets chocolate pot de creme. And I am dressed like a pumpkin today. It's Halloween weekend. We've got our little pumpkin mascot next to us. But while the kids are out trick-or-treating and they're out having fun and eating all their coffee, although I could go for a Snickers bar right now, you can do something more fun at home. Have your own little chocolate treat, and that pot de creme is just what the doctor ordered. But today we're going to taste that pot de creme with a couple of different ports and 2 very different styled ports. We're also introducing today a cream. It's a whipped cream, but it's made with 15% alcohol. This happens to be a raspberry flavored. They make a caramel. They also make a vanilla flavor. They make a chocolate. They make a cherry. Several different flavors, but this is great for like on an ice cream drink. Great for like a coffee drink, but we're going to use this on the pot de creme as part of the garnish with a little bit of alcohol. Now about ports. To be called a port, or a porto as they say in Portugal, it has to be from Portugal. And the wine, this fortified wine, has to also be from the area of Douro, or the little town of Port. And this is just one of those beverages that is great with chocolate, just really works with chocolate. And today we're trying a tawny port. I'm going to pour both of these so you can see the difference in the glass. This is a little tawny, and then we have a 2000 ruby port. Look at the 2 color differences there. The tawny is a little bit more on the kind of brown side. It's been aged for 8 years before release, and it kind of oxidates, so it gets a little bit brown. And you've got the ruby that has that darker color. But before we try both of these, just a little more information on port itself. There's different styles of port. The tawny has to be aged for 7 years, like I'd said. Ruby ports are generally stainless steel aged. Sometimes they'll put them in barrels, but there's no definitive time on a ruby port being aged before it's released, unless, of course, it is a vintage port. And vintage ports are ports that are destined for a specific year. And they don't determine that year until the second spring after the grapes have been picked and the wine is starting to age itself. So that second spring is when they actually determine if this is going to be a vintage year or not. And vintage years probably happen 3 or 4 times a decade. Only the best years and the best results are when they actually put a vintage on them. Also, the way port is made, you've got higher sugar concentration in the grapes, and when this is fermented, the sugar converts it into alcohol. To stop that alcohol process, to stop that alcohol from growing to a 30% alcohol, ports are always at 20%. They infuse or introduce brandy to it, and that stops the fermentation. That extra alcohol stops that fermentation, and that's why ports are considered fortified. First, we're going to taste this Kopke Fine Tawny, which is an 8-year tawny. And this one is the darker one. There's always a nuttiness that you get out of tawnies. A little bit less bold and bright. We're going to get more brightness out of the 2000 Ruby. And this is just a more prune-like, a little bit more like dried prunes, whereas you get more of that real bright cherry flavor that's coming out of the Ruby port. But the producer Kopke, they've been licensed longer than anybody else in Portugal. It's a German family that started this production in Portugal. That's back in 1638. Port, by the way, is the 3rd oldest appellation in the entire world. Chianti and Tokai are the only ones that have actually been around longer as an official appellation. So port has been restricted and following those guidelines longer than anybody else. Now we're going to try this Ruby port. Like I said, the tawny is going to be a little bit more of that pruny flavor. This is that bright cherry, but there's some richness to it too. It's almost like a syrup that you would add to a chocolate dish. Perfect little combination with chocolate, obviously, and we're going to do that right now and let you know what that tastes like. All right, the chocolate pot de creme. We've added a little bit of the cream, the raspberry cream, with the alcohol, some fresh raspberries, and a little bit of mint just for garnish and to make it look good. Let's give it a shot. Oh, that's just rich. There's 1 egg per container. We're going to show you how to make that in a few seconds, but with the port, see the combo. Needs a little taste. That really works. Chocolate and port makes the world go round. Watch us make this pot de creme. It's coming up next. You can download the recipe also. I want to tell you it's very, very easy, but have a happy and safe Halloween, and we'll see you next week. Welcome to the cooking segment. We're making pot de creme, little chocolate pot de creme. That's a French term, and in English that's pots of cream. It's just creamy chocolate. And it's very quick. It's going to be a real quick dessert. But to get this thing off to a very fast start, get the oven up to 325, get that preheated and ready to go. We've got our creme brulee or our cream ramekins there. Those are ready to go. And now let's go and start making this thing. All right. We've started a double boiler. We've got the boiling water, and we've got our little tin pan. What we're going to add is 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. We're doing half of the recipe here today because we've got it already started. We're adding 3 teaspoons of sugar. We're going to do 1.5. And we're also adding some espresso powder. 1 teaspoonful, this will be just 1/2. And then 2 cups of whipping cream. And we're going to get this all warmed up together. And that is very, very hot. All right, the recipe calls for 6 separated eggs. We just have the yolks. We have 3 here because we're just going to do 3. That is 1 egg per pot de creme. That's a very, very rich dish. We're going to add just a drop of vanilla. A little hint, I like that little vanilla flavor coming out. And you want to just really, really whip that down. All right, the eggs are whipped up very, very fine there. Now we've got the chocolate mixture, and you don't want this to be too hot. And you want to slowly, slowly pour it in so it doesn't break down the eggs or curdle the eggs. And just whisk that right on in. All right, the chocolate is combined with the egg. We've got a custard now. And what we're going to do is take out 3 of the ramekins. We're just going to do half for this little experiment. And you want to fill these ramekins up evenly. Then we're going to take our hot water that we're using to boil the chocolate down. We're going to add that to the pan. And you want to fill this pan up halfway to the halfway point, halfway up the sides of the ramekins. That boiling water, then we'll add some other hot water and pop it in the oven. The oven is warm. You want to go in the middle rack of the oven there too. And that's just going to cook for 25 minutes. 25 minutes have passed. And that has firmed up, and we're going to chill that down now. Let it cool. We're going to put it in the refrigerator for 2 hours, and the dish is pretty much done. All right, the pot de creme is chilled out of the refrigerator. Look how solid that is. We're going to dress the plate up a little bit here. You can take a napkin, place that down, put the pot de creme in the center. Got a little spoon for you, and this is our secret weapon today. This is the 15% alcohol raspberry cream. Put a little bit of that on there. Fresh raspberries. And a little mint. Beautiful. So that's our match number 7, Port meets pot de creme, and join us next week for match number 8. We're going to do something very, very different.